In this video, I am going to show you how to use the character panel in Adobe Illustrator. All right, so we are going to make sure our option or our control bar is open, our toolbar is open. Then you're going to navigate over here to this little box, and you're going to click on typography. This is going to let's see, hang on, let me reset this real quick. This is going to open up all the typography tools that you need. So I'm going to actually, it's not showing my stuff. So if nothing pops up like mine did, you're going to go to type and then go to go to window, then type, then character, and it will open up your character panel. All right, so that's the one that we really want to have open. And of course, you always want to have your layer panel open. So there's two layers here. The first layer is the worksheet, and that's locked. The second layer is going to be where you're going to be working. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the character tab. And we're going to just go through this really quickly. So this is where you can change your text or your font, okay, just like you can do up here in the option or the control bar. The next one is going to be where you can change what type of font it is. So if it's got additional fonts within it, so bold, regular, semi-bold, italic, those types of things, those will be in here. So there are some that have a whole bunch. So Futura, let's go there and see what comes up. Okay, so this one only has two. Sometimes there's a whole bunch that are grouped together. So you may have a list of them. The font options. All right, this one, if you hover above each thing, it'll tell you exactly what it is. So this will help set your size, okay, just like again up in the option bar or the control bar. This one sets the leading. The leading is the amount of space you have between your lines of text. So if I were to, let me draw out a new artboard. If I were to type out some words and then hit return, I need to make sure that my text is readable or legible. And sometimes when you type out text using certain characters or letters or font, your leading or your line spaces are closer together. All right, so it's going to look like this. So that's essentially what this does. A good rule of thumb is that you want your leading to be at least the same size as your font. Okay, so if I set this to 29 points, it's going to look okay. I feel like I could probably separate it a little bit more. I do have very little space between my J and my L. Okay, so just make sure that you have enough space between your lines that it's easy to read. All right, that's what you really need to be aware of. Let me give my text some separation here. Okay, so obviously this is not a real word. Let me fill in a text box here. So let's draw it out. All right, there we go. Okay, the next one, and again, if you hover, it will show you exactly what it is going to be the kerning. So the kerning is going to be the distance between certain letters. Okay, so if I put my cursor right there in between those two letters, let's see, I think I have to highlight them and highlight them. All right, so kerning selections can only be set to auto or 0 to modify spacing between multiple characters. Okay, so this is going to be between words. So let's see what happens when I hit minus 25. So you can see it brought it closer, this section of letters, it brought them closer to the set before. If I go minus 200, all right, so typically you want that to be set to 0. You may find a need for this sometimes depending on what text and font you use, and a lot of these options are going to be dependent on the types of fonts and text that you use. You may notice that some characters need to be spaced out a little bit more than others. For example, this T and the E, those are pretty close together. The T is pretty close to that E on both ends. There's a lot more space between the A and the D than there is between the E and the T. So to fix that, you're going to come over here to your tracking, And this will allow you to widen the gap between those letters. It's moving very, very slightly, but you can kind of see it adjusting. If I go pretty big, then you can see it, okay? So if you notice that your spacing needs to be a little bit further apart on certain characters, that's how you do that. The next one is going to be vertical scale. So this will adjust the size, let's see, of your letters. So I'll make it taller, okay? So rather than using your direct select tool and stretching things out, this is how you're going to modify your text, individual pieces of text, okay? Let's see, go back to 100. All right, the next one is going to be your horizontal scale. So this is going to stretch things out widthwise. Let me make this box a little bit bigger. All right, so in order to use this, you do need to make sure to highlight the text that you want to modify. Okay, so that's going to widen it out a little bit. The next one is going to be the baseline shift. All right, so the baseline is this bottom line right here. It's invisible, but it's there. It's the bottom line that your text sits on. Okay, so watch what happens. Let's see. So it brings it up. So let's pretend like there's a line right underneath my word. The baseline is that line, okay? And we're going to just adjust it. This will bring it down below, okay? The next one is going to be rotating your characters, okay? So if I wanted to rotate characters, I could highlight it and then adjust it, just like this, all right? There's another way to do this, and I will show you how to do that in the next video. And then we have these options down here. So this will turn all of your letters into capitals. This will turn them into small caps. So if this first letter was a capital M to start with, it would remain a capital M, but then these other letters would be smaller capitals. If you need to do math, this is going to give you your superscript number. Okay, so if this was a 1, that's how you get that. This is the subscript. Okay, so if you put the number below, this is your underline, so let's underline it, and this is your strike through. All right, and then you've got some other options here. Snap to a specific glyph. So you can always mess around with these characters, see what happens when you do. These are new features down here, so we're not going to really go over those a whole lot today. Okay, so what you're going to do, with your, I need to make sure to uncheck everything that I just did, because if I go back over to my artboard, it will actually perform those tasks that I just did, and I don't want that to happen. All right, so the first one's pretty simple. Type your name and your font, 72 points. Okay, you guys know how to do this, so I need to uncheck all this stuff that I just did. Set this all back to 0 because it does not default by itself unless I restart. Okay, so type your name in 72-point font. You guys know how to do this. Just type in 72 points. Okay, use whatever font you want. Type your name. Okay, so these first couple ones are pretty simple. You're just going to type your name, change it to bold. Actually, this new feature in Illustrator does not have the bold, so we're going to go ahead and skip that one. This next one, I'm just going to make a copy of my text, clicking on my text with my selection tool, hold Alt and drag down. We'll make a copy. Type your name from above, change the tracking to 100. So I'm going to go ahead in here, and I'm going to hover, and I'm going to look for my tracking, so it's right here. And I can type in the number 100, or I can drop down the arrow. Okay. Take your name from number 2 and change the horizontal scale to 150. So I'm just going to copy it from number 1 and change the horizontal scale to 150. So I can type in a percentage, just hit enter. All right, so that is going to actually stretch it out beyond my artboard. So I'm just going to make it smaller so it fits. Okay, take your name again, change the vertical scale All right, so you guys get the idea. So you're just looking to see where these things are. I want to know that you've gone in here, you've looked at your character panel, and you've seen where everything is. All right, so take your number 2, change the kerning between 2 letters to negative 150. So I'm just going to keep using this first one because it's not modified or changed at all. The only difference is the text size. So just 2 characters to negative 150. So looking for my kerning, I'm going to go ahead and find that. So it's right here, and I'm going to just type in negative 150. Okay, so if you have an issue and it doesn't let you just put your cursor there, you don't need to highlight it. So I'm going to type negative 150. There we go. So it brings them closer together. All right, so you're just going to continue repeating this. Again, you're looking for baseline shift, so you're going to hover, find your baseline shift, which is right here. And then this one is rotate the characters by 20 degrees. So you'll use your name, type it out, and then right here you're going to rotate it by 20, highlight it, rotate it by 20 degrees. All right, so this is just so that you are looking at the character panel. It shouldn't take you very long. You should be done with it before the end of class. You should be done with it before, like within 15 minutes. It shouldn't take you too long. You are then going to save your Illustrator file and save your PDF file in your typography or your intro folder and turn in your PDF file to Google Classroom.